Hey guys, welcome back to the Intercut podcast. I have a new little co-host here. He's not replacing Zach. Zach is still alive. He's good. He's in New York. He's doing his thing. We recorded this one because he was doing some family stuff. Nothing bad. Nothing like that. He ain't got a kid or anything. But I'm joined here by HoustonProductions1. I believe the one came either you're very inspired by the Nerd Writer one. Or you probably went to the same thing that a lot of us do, where it's like, I'm the AtZShow. It was always supposed to be A-Z.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube didn't allow me the hyphen. So, yeah, I'm joined here by him. He's going to be not replacing, but just here as an extra little co-host for the Intercut podcast, going through the same thing. So, Houston, tell the audience who you are.
Well, funny story, I made my channel when I was about 11 years old, so I included the one because back then it was like, you know, you have to have a number in your name to be the cool guy. That's just how YouTube works, you know? It was always something 1, 2, 3, something 3, 4, 5, whatever, or your birth year. So I was just like, put a 1. This is what you do.
The one, you're number one. You're the only Houston. You used to do Lego stuff too, right?
I did, yeah. Yeah.
That was your thing back in the day. But he does. He's got a really cool film channel. So definitely go check it out. He's got a fantastic Harry Potter video for those who I've been trolling that I haven't seen any Harry Potter film. I haven't, but you should definitely go check out his video. You should definitely go check out his video. I like his videos because he does something the same kind of vibe that we like going for, which is it's not just about this movie was good, this movie was bad.
Yeah,
he talks about the why. That's like the beauty of if you're gonna discuss a movie, add to it. You don't have to love it. Right?
Yeah.
But talk about what made that movie special or what didn't work for you and really discuss it. So
right, yeah, that's been my kind of resolution for this year, especially on YouTube, has been to focus more on the personal stuff as far as movies.
Exactly.
I've tried for objectivity in the past years, and it just hasn't gotten me anywhere. So I think recently I've been like, you know what? I'm just going to talk about why I like or dislike things and try to be as subjective as possible, and even get kind of emotional with it, you know, as far as the emotional connection to things, because I think that's something that's kind of lacking on YouTube a little bit more. There is some stuff, like I feel like Movies with Mikey does a really good job of that.
1,000%.
But yeah, I thought that would be a better approach to take this year in particular.
Yeah, it allows people to get to know you, because when you're being objective, it's great and all, but like even Philly D, one of the people who really strives on that with YouTube, being objective with the news, he still gives his own opinion there, and he tells you, he's like, this is my opinion, I want to hear yours. Yeah. And it allows people to get to know you instead of you being a robot, right? Yeah. Instead of being the Rotten Tomatoes reporter or whatever else. Right? To get into that, you know, we always start off this podcast with a what we've been watching. So we're going to talk about being personal. We're going to talk about, you know, those landmines when it comes to movies. What have you been watching? Because I'm pretty sure it's similar to me, and I want to say everybody else, but
yeah,
this movie
box office numbers might disagree. Yeah.
Yeah, so take it away.
I mean, I guess we're talking about Solo.
Solo.
So, should I give my brief thoughts on it or something like that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I really liked it. I did. I went in expecting to hate it completely, or expecting to just like sigh. Yeah, like all the trailers were going by, and I was like, here we go. And the first 5 minutes or so, I was like, oh, here we go. That was like the first half of it. I was like, oh, here we go. But I wound up really enjoying it. I liked the visual aesthetic of the whole film. I liked how practical it felt with the effects and the costumes and the sets and everything. Yeah. I feel like it feels the most gritty and on location out of all the recent Star Wars films. I liked Alden Ehrenreich as Han. And I thought that while some of the fan service was a little pandering, as you would expect, you're going to need a nickname. I can't say Chewbacca. And then, of course, you're alone? How about Solo?
Oh,
all that stuff.
We'll get to that.
It was a little bit, but I thought most of it was done pretty well. I liked Han and Chewie's meeting. I liked some of the new characters. I liked Emilia Clarke's character a lot. I liked Paul Bettany as the villain. And I think I just liked seeing a new environment of the Star Wars universe, like this whole smuggler, kind of grimy, just separate world that they exist in that's apart from all the shiny, you know, Imperial stuff.
Very heroic, yeah.
Right, yeah. I enjoyed it. It's not without its flaws, but... And obviously, as many have remarked, there's no reason it should have been made. But being that it has been made, it's like, I'm not going to fault it for existing, so I'm going to judge it for what it is. And I think, even though we didn't need this movie, it's as good as it probably could have been, especially given the behind-the-scenes circumstances, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. There has been that criticism that this movie shouldn't exist. No movie should exist.
Right.
I completely agree with that, right? You know, and when we talk about movies, we many times say that it's like, oh, this movie is just a cash grab. Every movie wants to make money, right? I guess what people mean is sometimes like you were saying, is it the best possible product it can be?
Yeah.
Obviously, every movie wants to make money, but at what point are they just doing it solely for money?
Right.
Right? And just trying to create a product instead of, you know, adding to the lore of a character that a lot of people like.
At what point is the creative vision sacrificed for the money, right? Instead of maintaining that.
Exactly. I love Ron Howard.
Right.
I think Ron Howard's dope, and I agree with you. We've had other movies where the director leaves, somebody else comes, Josh Whedon comes in, and you get something else completely different. Right. I can't remember how much, if you like Justice League or not.
I despise it. Yeah.
That is the perfect example of when something gets super botched to the point where you're like, I'm seeing so many different movies up there. I don't see this one as Ant-Man, right? I'm on the side where when I watch Ant-Man, right, I don't hate Ant-Man.
Yeah.
It's very rare for me to really hate and despise a movie because I'm like, yo, it's a miracle this thing even got made.
Yeah.
As butchered as something, yo, it's a miracle a movie like The Room got made. But like you said, at what point are they doing the best possible product that they can? And as someone who loves Lord and Miller, adores those guys, to see them leave, it was sort of like, are you serious? It's the same thing that happened with Ant-Man. I was like, when the moment that, what's his name left and they got rid of it.
It, like, both those situations seem like, now they seem like dreams. Like, it's like, imagine it. It's amazing. But, like, it was gonna happen. It was gonna be a thing, and it wasn't. Like, I
So when you're watching the movie... So when you're watching the movie, like when I said with Ant-Man, I'm watching a bunch of things of a guy trying to be Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
And there were moments in here where it wasn't so much. There were some jokes I truly believe. The one joke, and this is already out there because I believe they released the clip to it. I have a bunch of people on that ship and they're going to come out and fire you. Vroom.
Yeah.
Good joke.
Yeah.
But I can just imagine how it was originally supposed to be edited, shot, directed with the original guys who would have really killed it.
Right.
The guys who know that humor from 21 and 22 Jump Street. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing is this film is shot, like, we still don't know exactly how much was reshot and how much, you know, was them. But
estimates were that it's like 70%, something like that.
Yeah.
But you never know. You're right. You never know.
This film is shot like a Ron Howard film. Like, it's shot very dramatically. I like how it's shot a lot. It's the Arrival cinematographer. Yeah. But it's kind of
shout out to that dude. That dude is incredible.
Yeah, Brian. Wait, what's his name?
Brad.
Oh, Brad Young. Isn't that it, or something like that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, but it's shot very dramatically, and so it's kind of hard to imagine a full out comedy with this kind of visual aesthetic.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So I always wonder, like, were Lord and Miller going for the comedic angle with that? Or like, was the reason Disney got rid of them because they were having him shoot it like an SNL sketch or something like that? You know, like, was their entire vision of how the film should even look or play out or be edited completely different? Like, we don't really know, you know? How much of them was, like, bearing into the Star Wars that Disney wanted to maintain? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's always, again, it's that shoulda, coulda, woulda, but that's not what we got, and we got to judge what we got.
Right.
And I agree with you. There were many moments where I was like, okay, there's a lot of fan service, and fan service can be great, right? Like, I'm sure if you see an upcoming Harry Potter movie, you can be very objective, and you'll be like, oh, you know, they definitely put that in there for what?
Right.
But you can also see the upcoming Fantastic Beasts and get very giddy when you see a connection that you really like. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, so for me, I'm looking at those very objectively, and I'm going, again, hey, Chewie. The Solo one, oh, man. Like, you can smell it coming from a mile away. Who are your people? What's your last name? Golly gee, sir, I ain't got one. Well, Solo. Okay.
The bit where he's leaning over the side of the ship with Chewie and he says you're going to need a nickname reminded me so much. Like, I was just having flashbacks of the Fantastic Four scene.
Fantastic Four?
Like, yeah, because in both scenes they're, like, leaning over a ledge and they're like, what should we call ourselves?
Yeah, what should we call ourselves? The Fantastic... Oh, no. What are we? Some kind of Suicide Squad? Like, you have a bunch of those bits where it's like... It's pretty much reaching out to the audience.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What other way could you do that?
Well, see, that is the thing. I see a lot of people faulting it for, like, Han and Chewie meeting was so fan servicey. And I'm like, what did you expect? Yeah, like
right, exactly.
Like,
it's weird.
This is a movie about Han Solo's origins. I get not wanting that in the first place, but like that's what this is. So why are you acting like you're shocked that that's in the movie? Like, and that's so pandering or something. You know,
at a certain point, you're going to have to say that.
Right.
You know what I mean? At a certain point, they're going to have to meet. At a certain point, that nickname comes up. Stuff like that. I guess just how it's delivered.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Curious your thoughts on Lando. Lando and his little female robot.
I loved L3. I loved her so much. That was hilarious. Yeah, I liked both of them. Lando is in the movie a little bit less than you would expect, I guess. But I thought he was really good. There were a couple moments, I think people are praising him hugely, and he was really good. But there are a couple moments where he feels a little bit impression-y as far as the Billy D. Williams impression.
Yes.
Overall, though, he was really good. I enjoyed the suaveness of him. And with Ehrenreich and Glover especially, like, both of them are playing younger versions of their characters, so they're not entirely that character yet. And that was what I thought justified his portrayal of Solo, where, you know, he's not supposed to be the Han that we know in Empire. You know, he's forming into that, but he's still you've got a lot to learn, kid. He's still got a lot to learn.
He's got those bits in there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, overall, and we're going to get to this when we get to the topic of the week, but it's just that idea of people coming out and wanting to overly hate something. It doesn't mean you have to love it. It's become such a toxic environment, whereas, like, if you like it, the people who don't bash you. It's like the vegans who bash you for even smelling meat or looking at meat, spelling meat.
Having an opinion about Star Wars is like having a political stance now. That's like...
worse.
Yeah, it is worse. I think I've had more respectful debates with people about Trump than I have about Star Wars.
Star Wars. It's crazy. It's wild out there. But, I mean, this movie, as fan service-y as it is at points, I am obviously so the perspective. I really wish that version of the Lord and Miller was out there.
Yeah.
Just like, it goes on the list.
Right.
The Snyder Cut, the Fantastic Four stick cut of what's his name's, and I guess this one gets added to that mystical list of movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as, you know, movies with troubled productions and everything, especially in the past 5 years or so, this is probably top of the list in terms of best result. I mean, I think it worked out better than Rogue One. Rogue One, you can see the cracks, like you can see where the narrative diverges and like what might have been, and what was like in the trailers that wasn't in the movie. With this, I didn't notice much that was like inconsistent or anything. The only thing is like, I feel like the Infus Nest character, the like bounty hunter who turns out to be a kid, may have been an actual villain in the end in the original cut, perhaps. And maybe. Like, then, because I felt like that was a little bit tagged on in the end, but then I don't know, it still works. You know, it flows fine. Yeah. And then as far as fan service, I mean, this is a little bit back to what we were saying before. As I said, there are several things that do feel pandering, but I felt like a lot of it was done really well to the point where, you know, this movie has a lot of great little references that aren't heavy-handed at all. You know, like referencing Aura Singh and Bosk and like all the stuff in the Paul Bettany character's office that he's got on display and stuff, like Mandalorian armor and stuff. The Imperial... I love the John Williams Imperial March playing in the recruitment thing. For the Empire. That's in canon now, I guess. But yeah, there were some fun Easter eggs that I thought were a little bit subtler and didn't take you out of the movie, or you know, override the narrative to be more important than the actual story. So,
agree.
Yeah.
So you give it the thumbs up.
I do. Thumbs up. I don't know what I rate it. Good time.
We already did. This was the review. This is what we rated this discussion, but. Going with that, we're going to start off the yay or nay segment of the show. Pretty much I'm going to give you something that's trending, something in movie news. You give me the yay or nay, depending on if you're for it, if you're against it, your thoughts on it. Okay. So since we were just talking about Solo, that Solo box office, I had tweeted out, this is, as we were talking about productions, 250 mil?
Yeah.
For this production, it's up there in the top 10 of some of the most expensive stuff. Not up there with every time I see the list. Obviously, both Avengers are up there, very high.
And then Pirates, Stranger Tides.
Pirates,
or is it at World's End? I think it's at World's End. Yeah.
It is a ridiculous amount is how much they spent. 300, almost 400 on that one. But this one was 250 million.
Yeah.
And it's domestic box office from the last number that I saw, 84.7.
And I think that's that's the normal weekend, but then with the holiday weekend, with Memorial Day, it's like 102 or something like that. But
barely scathing it.
Right.
So the yay or nay here is that it's been just a couple of months since The Last Jedi, but it's going to be 18 months.
Oh, wow.
Till episode 9.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
18 months. So for you, yay or nay, do you think that time is going to help it? Do you believe that part of the reason why this one maybe bombed is because the event type of thing has been a little bit dismissed since episode 8.
Yeah, I do. Yes. So the answer is yay. I think that that was the main reason that I thought Solo failed. I think if they'd opened it in December, it would be doing so much better. Because the crazy thing is, this December doesn't have much going on in terms of big events. They could have just moved it, and it would have been fine. As well as you'd have more time to market it. And I do think that whether you love The Last Jedi or hated it, it has undoubtedly been one of the most divisive movies ever made. And I've met an equal amount of people in normal life who, like, usually when you see vitriol for a movie, it's mostly contained to the internet. But I have met a good amount of people in real life as well who have hated The Last Jedi or have loved The Last Jedi. So I think that this is one of the few cases where the vitriol around a movie really has bled into the mainstream. And so I do think that a lot of people, mainstream or niche fans, had a bad taste in their mouth after The Last Jedi, or just, I mean, we've had a lot of blockbusters over the past month, Infinity War, Deadpool 2, all this stuff, and people are kind of pooped out, like, in terms of
what?
Yeah,
that's the best way to see it, because I'm like, it's an event movie, right? And it must have been The Last Jedi or something, because Marvel pops these out like 3 a year, and Infinity War still did great. So, you know, and Black Panther and a bunch of the other movies that they've had. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how episode 9 is, because this was a prequel.
Right.
Like, if you didn't like The Last Jedi, this one didn't really have much to do with The Last Jedi.
Right.
Episode 9 will, though.
I think it serves, it's one of these things that just, first of all, I don't think the marketing was done very well, because it kind of came out of nowhere. Not many people really seem to be aware of its existence till like a month ago.
Chewie almost dying.
Right. And then I also feel like, you know, the whole recasting of Han and everything, for like when I think of the mainstream, I think of like the 50-year-old man who lives across the street from me. Like, just like, you know, these people who are not movie fans, they just see the trailer while they're watching the Super Bowl, and they're like, maybe we'll go see it. You know, like all these, the normal people, for lack of a better word. Because we're the elite, we're the smart ones, aren't we?
No. That are recognized,
But yeah, like, I think those people view it as, it looks like they've recast Han Solo. Wow, how inventive! Looks like we're doing this again. You know, versus with Marvel, they still have an aura of freshness to them, even though they're not. I mean, even though we're 20 movies in or whatever, and there's more Marvel entries than there are Star Wars entries. Marvel still feels relatively new to the scene since 2008 with Iron Man, and people still, I think, feel like they're on a journey with them, versus Star Wars. I think some people are like, well, they're bringing it back. like it's been around for a long time, and it's still around, and they're still trying to beat that dead horse, you know?
Yeah, and Marvel's not doing prequels.
Right.
When it comes to Marvel, their events are like, oh, it's another big blockbuster, but it's like, oh, there's something different.
Well, yeah, and Marvel's, I mean, I think, personally, I think that Solo was cool because it was a different kind of Star Wars movie, but for many, it looks about the same as every other one.
Exactly. For the marketing, does it actually make it look different?
It looks like every other Star Wars movie. And with Marvel, their movies are so vastly different. I mean, Black Panther, Infinity War, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok. You can say whatever you want about the Marvel formula, but those are all vastly different films, you know, with different tones and vibes and characters to like. So, yeah.
1,000%. So going off that, the next one is your yay or nay on the Boba Fett movie, especially considering, I don't know if he's certified or like they've signed him on, Mangold, who did the Wolverine trilogy. Obviously, Logan with a lot of success with that. Yay or nay on this?
I'm staring forlornly off into the distance. I'm conflicted because, again, I don't want to be the guy saying, like, this shouldn't exist. just like with Solo, there's no reason for it to exist, but it still could be good, you know? Mangold is the perfect guy to bring on. That does kind of cement the idea that many people have had for such a long time that, like, they're going to do, like, a gritty Logan-esque Boba Fett movie where he crawls out of the Sarlacc pit and now he's, like, he's a smuggler and he's, like, out to get his revenge or something like that, you know? So it sounds cool. You know, many have commented over the years that Boba Fett really isn't that interesting of a character at all. He just looks cool. That's his deal.
Well, some have compared him to Dredd. They're like, just have him be like Dredd, have him never speak, pretty much, have him put his head on. And then people just said, just remake Dredd too. There was a tweet about that.
Right.
So I'm like... But
again, like, you know, there's potential to make him a great character with this.
Definitely. Any character can be great in the right hands.
So I don't think it's necessary, but I don't want to write it off because, as is the case with every film, there's a chance it could be good, and who better to make a good Boba Fett film than James Mangold? So 1000%. I give it my unenthusiastic, maybe that'll be good.
Yeah. I think it's the best director for the job.
Yeah, yeah.
The next one, a little bit of controversy, moving away from a galaxy far, far away, come back over here. Sesame Street is suing that upcoming Happytime Murders movie because in the trailer, and I will actually agree with this, in the trailer, have you seen the Happytime Murder?
Yeah.
Trailer? It's the Melissa McCarthy movie where it's got these Muppet-like looking characters.
That's the director of all the Muppet movies. He's Jim Henson's son, who's doing it. So that's...
R-rated movie with Muppets ejaculating, murder, all of these crazy things. And the trailer tells you, no Sesame, all street. So Sesame Street has hit them with this lawsuit saying that you're pretty much connecting the brand together and it's tarnishing our brand.
Oh, wow.
Having people believe it's that. It's this whole statement.
I did not know about this. That's hilarious.
They're suing them. And I'll be like, you know what? Sesame Street... I ain't gonna lie, for a second I thought this was an official Sesame Street. They were going balls to the wall. So, yay or nay on this? Do you think that it's a smart move on either end? For one, the movie, are you yay or nay on the movie, them taking this route? But also on Sesame Street, suing them. When you first saw this trailer, did you actually think it was connected, or did you know, this is clearly like a parody type of thing?
Oh, yeah, I didn't think it was... I thought there might be some little subtle references to the Muppets or something. They might hint at like little Easter eggs involving that world, but I knew they weren't going to actually connect it to it. I love the premise. I think it could be hilarious.
It's wild.
And because I've been a fan of the Muppets for as long as I can remember. Like, I love the Muppets and I love Jim Henson. I mean, he's always been one of my biggest inspirations and heroes ever since I was a kid. There's a Center for Puppetry Arts here in Atlanta that has all his puppets on display that I used to go to as a kid and be shocked at how great they are. But so I like the premise. I like the idea of his son coming back to it. That's just a cool thing. But at the same time, it looks just, you know, there's nothing intelligent or wholesome about it. Like,
oh no.
I mean, and not even wholesome in the sense of clean, but just wholesome in the sense of, I'm glad I saw this because it's going to... Yeah, I mean, exactly. It looks just kind of immature and bad, you know? Especially the last bit. With the... Yeah, the last... that keeps going on forever. I was like, oh my gosh. But do I agree with the whole Sesame Street? No. Like, they didn't even use the two words in the same sentence. They said, it's all sesame, no street. If they'd said Sesame Street, that might be a different thing.
Yeah. But it's crazy because they said that they're like, that's our brand, and they're pretty much saying you can't use the word Sesame or Street because we own them. It's like when Apple tried to copyright the word Apple, or Facebook wanted Facebook.
The what is it? The React channel. When they said
they're trying to fine bros it.
Yeah,
they want to own the word.
Yeah,
I mean. It's crazy. I don't think... I've always wondered, like, unless it's really defaming the name, I can't really think of anybody... I kind of get their perspective because there's definitely, like... This isn't even on Sesame Street, though. Like, if they get outrage from a parent who takes their kid to go see that movie, then they go, Sesame Street, how dare you endorse this? No, it had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
That ain't nobody's fault but the idiotic parent who didn't see the trailer,
like
or that it was rated R.
Their kids to see Ted. Because they were like, look, it's a cute teddy bear movie.
Okay. The poster has them urinating on a wall. Y'all are crazy.
Oh,
yeah. Exactly. That's on the parents. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Because I don't know how much they're suing them for, but it's probably more than the budget of the movie. So.
That's true.
Yeah. But to keep it kid friendly.
I mean, I am in favor of keeping puppetry alive. That's something that has always been very important to me, because I think puppetry is a lost art. I mean, some people are still keeping it alive. You still got it in things like Jurassic Park, and Star Wars has a lot of puppetry still going on, and I loved that opening scene in Solo with the blue area with the Oliver Twist-esque alien lady in the water. Yeah, that was so cool. So I'm glad that there's another movie with puppetry in it, but I don't feel like it's doing a very good job of keeping it alive, just in the sense of doesn't look very good.
Yeah, as a quality product.
Right.
The next thing that we have, Kim Possible.
Oh.
I don't know if you're a fan of Kim Possible growing up.
I wasn't much, but yeah.
Kim Possible has a live-action movie that they're working on. And recently they had some casting things. So you're yay or nay on not only the movie, but Allison Hannigan. Some may know her from going to band camp in the American Pie movies, I believe. And others may know her from How I Met Your Mother. She was, I'm forgetting her name, Lily in How I Met Your Mother. So if you're for this Kim Possible live-action adaptation, and with some of the casting, I don't know who is actually going to play Kim Possible, but the girl who they got to play Shigo, they're more unknowns from what I'm aware of. They look fantastic. Yeah. So your thoughts on this whole wave of live-action movies that are coming out from Disney?
So this isn't a Disney Channel movie? Because I had heard that they were making a Disney Channel Kim Possible movie at some point or another, or something like that.
I mean, it may be a Disney Channel movie. I don't know that much about it. All I heard was that they're making a live-action version of it. Yeah. It may not even hit theaters.
If it's a Disney Channel movie, I'm nay. If it is a theatrical movie, I'm maybe. Because
you want that High School Musical 3, not the 1 and 2. You want the one that hits theaters.
Exactly. I'm not very familiar with the Kim Possible lore of the mythos of this universe.
It goes deep.
I know that she's a teenage girl spy. She's got a mole rat or something, right?
Her friend's got the naked mole rat. Yes, Ron.
That's about all I know. So I like spy movies. That's about.
Hey, there's that. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting because this is a female spy.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of if we're getting into that, I mean, like, a bunch of the female spy movies that come out. There's that one, The Spy Who Dumped Me, that's coming up.
Oh no, yeah.
I feel like it's always from that perspective. Even Melissa McCarthy's Spy, she isn't really a spy. She just finds herself in that position. She's just like the desk person.
Right. Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to have a Kim Possible movie where she is the spy.
Yeah.
Like you have a female spy, and I mean, I liked Kim Possible. I'm not the biggest fan of adapting live action stuff, but
yeah, another example of we don't need it, but maybe it could be good.
Maybe it could be good. James Mangold will direct.
Right.
And last one, Double Dare. Maybe you weren't watching Kim Possible, but were you into Double Dare, the Nickelodeon Slime Time live show that they had coming up? Pretty much, it was like they would get contestants, and I believe this was filmed in Florida, maybe California. I want to say in Florida. They would like get contestants to come in. Sometimes it was kids with their parents or just the kids. Yeah. They would ask questions, and like the losers would get slimed live. Recently, YouTube's got this whole thing. I'm not even that old, but I feel behind at the times. Slime is a huge thing on YouTube.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, my little sister makes slime like every day. It's crazy and disgusting.
We went to Toys R Us. It was closing down. We're like, let's look at this whole thing just on slime. I'm like, yo, what is it? Slime is huge. Yeah. So I think it's the perfect time to bring back the Double Dare thing. Yeah. But what I find super interesting, because I liked this show growing up, Liza Koshy. Or Koshy, however you say her name, YouTuber. Very great YouTuber. I think she's hilarious. She will be hosting the show, along with the original host who's going to be narrating it. But you're yay or nay on that, on YouTubers, because there's this whole stigma out there that there's YouTube and then there's real celebrities.
Yeah.
But it's been very interesting to see celebrities become YouTubers. But your thoughts on YouTubers now coming into that space of TV.
So this would be a TV show or a YouTube show?
No, TV, Nickelodeon.
Okay. Funny story, I stayed in a house next to Liza Koshy's house when I went to LA a few months ago. I did not see her, though. She is funny. I didn't watch Nickelodeon as a kid really at all because I was somewhat sheltered. I really didn't even watch SpongeBob at all. That's been a long lost art.
But they let you watch Harry Potter?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Real art, if you will. But no, I've actually, over the past couple years, like I've seen clips from SpongeBob and been like, this wasn't the witchery that I thought it
this
would be.
This wasn't the devil's work like
right.
they told me.
It's actually somewhat clever. Yeah, my favorite animated show as a kid was Phineas and Ferb, but that was a little bit later down the line.
Mm-hmm.
I have no opinion because I really didn't watch it, but Liza Koshy is funny. I think she does get into that like kind of glamorized YouTube star Jake Paul crowd a little bit too much.
Exactly. Yeah, a little bit.
But I enjoy her when she's sort of the YouTube idea of what a true YouTuber is, which is I'm just a normal person and I got famous because I've got a cool personality and I'm fun to watch. Like that was the dream of YouTube originally.
Exactly.
And she's kind of making it. So yeah.
What do you think about that though? Do you think, because there's sometimes that's like, it's sort of like when people like their favorite band or song because it's underground, and the moment it becomes mainstream, sort of like, so what do you think about that, about YouTubers becoming celebrities? A lot of people think that some YouTubers just come in as they're acting real, and there are a bunch of people who do it. I've seen reaction channels that they tell you straight up, this is just my acting reel. That's the craziest part. Remember when reaction channels, there was that whole thing against them?
Right.
About like they're just pretending, but they actually told you, yeah, I react to things, this is my acting reel. So you were literally telling us that. But do you like that? Do you look forward to seeing a bunch of YouTubers becoming celebrities, like that certified celebrity? Even though, like you were saying, there are some YouTubers who are technically already celebrities.
I think it's an interesting, because like some people use YouTube as their main thing. Other people use it as like a platform to then launch into the bigger world. And I do imagine that it would be off-putting if you run a YouTube channel where you dictate the terms, you are the sole proprietor of your YouTube channel and you do everything, and then you are then bossed around by other people, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly how I would phrase it, yes.
And I think some people have trouble with that. It really just depends on the person. But it has been, I have felt, I mean, this is the general consensus a lot of people feel is just that, you know, when a YouTuber who's small time suddenly starts appearing on Nickelodeon or whatever, it can be like, oh, they've sold out, you know? And sometimes they have, sometimes they haven't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of ones who haven't. Because many of them have, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's nothing inherently wrong with it.
Right. But imagine that. Would you take that, right? Let's say, I can't really see you with E, but like, let's say Samsung or somebody comes up to you and says, yo, we really like the stuff that you're doing. You are sponsored by Samsung. You're going to go on the red carpet at the Oscars. Yeah. Would you not take that?
Like, I would absolutely do that.
Right.
Like, there is a level at which, you know, YouTubers maintain a facade of, I'm just all about the art. I'm all about the creativity
DIY,
and stuff.
man. I'm about
the art and creativity about 90%. But you know what? If someone offered to make me a millionaire, I'd take that shot.
Yo, Samsung calls me. I'm answering that on my iPhone. I'm like, I'll be there in a jiffy. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I don't blame them for taking that opportunity, you know, but it can be a little bit disappointing. It's like, oh, well, there goes the creative spark, you know.
And it's not all the times, but like you said, it's very hard to think of some, right? And even within YouTube, because I guess the other part of it would be YouTubers
you know,
who then start creating
good example would be Casey Neistat. I think he sells out, quote unquote, a lot of times, where he does commercials for people and whatever, but he always seems to maintain his own creative vision. Even within the things that he's doing for them, like the commercials that he's done for Samsung feel very Casey Neistat-ish.
Yeah.
They don't feel like Casey Neistat. They don't feel like Samsung is using Casey Neistat in their commercial. It feels like Casey Neistat is doing something for Samsung. And even then, even when he's supposedly sold out, he still maintained doing great content on YouTube, you know, over the past several years, including daily vlogs for a while. Yeah. So
it's easy for fans to just like yell, sell out, and whatever else. But I mean, it's an interesting debate because like Will Smith is now a YouTuber.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
You know what I mean,
yeah.
The Rock is now a YouTuber, and I love their stuff that they're doing. But it's become that thing of the YouTubers are now going to the more TV productions type things, and then you have like Jimmy Kimmel and all these other people who have their own platform. Now they're making just an extra 20K, 30K, however much a month as they take over the trending page of YouTube, which was always for like regular people.
And then you've got YouTube Red doing these, you know, channels where these shows where they're kind of trying to turn it into something that's more elite and shiny new. I mean, the original vision was from YouTube was, as you said, YouTube, where, you know, really dumb stuff can just become famous. Like, exactly. Because it's what's entertaining, it's what people find unique and creative, authentic, right? And so that's kind of what I was going to say about, you know, you said The Rock and Will Smith have YouTube channels now. To me, that sounds like a cool opportunity to be authentic.
Reach with your friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
and Will Smith, I think, is doing a fantastic
Yeah, I haven't watched much of his, but I think I've watched like one video or so. And it does seem like when someone big comes down to YouTube, it's like they're, you know, it's like God sending Jesus down to the people, like to live with them, you know, like they're humbling themselves, right? And so they could like maintain their brand.
That's like an insult.
Yeah.
Come down to YouTube. Come down to us mortal men.
Right.
No, I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. It could be a thing where they're coming to YouTube to like dominate it, like Jimmy Kimmel has and stuff. But it could also be a thing where they're coming to YouTube to get more close and intimate with people and be normal, you know. And I really do enjoy that kind of authenticity. Like there's Max Joseph, who's one of Casey Neistat's friends, is a actual filmmaker who's directed movies and stuff, but he's also just doing YouTube videos and vlogging. And I'm like, that's cool that he's humble enough to do that, you know? Yeah.
That's definitely a great opportunity, because YouTube pretty much, it's a community, and it allows you to be able to reach other people. So that is where we go into topic.
Oh, here we go. Good segue.
Week. This is the big one right here, and I especially got you on as being, I would say, big into the film community, because that's specifically what the topic of the week is going to be about. That film community that's out there. You know, it ranges from smaller channels that just do their movie reviews to the whole video essay craze, which we'll get into. Yeah. To, you know, even the bigger ones where it becomes podcast. You know, you got your Colliders, you got your big names, John Stuckman, stuff like that. You have those opposing negative ones. You know, some people say like YMS, Red Letter Media, and stuff like that. There's different perspectives from everybody, and then you have those that seem like Watch Mojo, Looper.
That's another one of those examples of a channel that's not authentic. It's just a big corporation.
A channel that kind of feels like the company in Ready Player One that whores out the pop culture to stuff like that. Yeah. And it's not to say that they don't sometimes have like a good video, but yeah, like what culture, stuff like that. So I think it's become an interesting scenario specifically for us, because YouTube has a bunch of different communities. Vloggers, fashion, you know, science, a bunch of different channels. You and I are very much invested into the film community, and that's what I wanted to talk about. And let's, I guess, start off with the positives. Yeah. What are the positives that you've seen being in this film community? I know you do a lot of reaching out. I try to, when I can, just comment on the videos that I do, like trying to give them a boost, because I remember as I was building up my channel, I loved it whenever somebody would comment and be like, yo, you're watching, I'm being watched. And sometimes as you're growing your channel, you feel like you're not being watched, and creating a fan base is fantastic. It's great, and that's definitely something that everyone should build. But it's when you have your peers watching you too that you go, that's crazy. Yeah. So
as far as the good, I mean, I think it's a great community, and I really enjoy lots of different channels. I love Red Letter Media. I disagree with Ralph the Movie Maker a lot, but I still like I think he's a tremendous creator and really good at his craft, and has a lot of potential to go somewhere in the future. That's a guy who I would like to see sell out. I'd like to see him hired to make a real movie. Like I want to see him become an actual director. You know,
what he would do?
I would be proud, like a proud father. But yeah, I enjoy lots of different creators. I think that everybody, there is a sense of self-righteousness a lot of times in this community. People saying that their opinion is fact, and kind of being a little bit pretentious about it, or personally insulting filmmakers because a movie is bad. And there's an obsession with talking about bad movies. Like, I mean, a lot of people do it, and that's fine, because I think there is a lot that we can learn from bad movies. Absolutely.
Easily.
But at the same time, it does breed a lot of negativity, I think. Yeah. And what's even funnier is lots of the channels who talk about bad movies, like YMS talks about bad movies a lot. And you would think that watching all these terrible, like 1-star movies that were like VHS like releases and everything, would give him more of an appreciation for the normal movies. Even Suicide Squad is nowhere near as bad as Cool Cat Saves the Kids. You know, like...
I mean, it's still trash, but
right,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Right. It's still a competently made, for the most part, film in comparison. And so you would think that, like, watching all these terrible movies would then give you an appreciation, even for the lower quality normal ones. But it seems, for some, to do almost the opposite, where, like, then it just makes you see the flaws in everything. And, like, just nothing but negativity. So, I like this community when it's not self-righteous. I think people like Movies with Mikey do a great job of that. I think, trying to think who else are some of my favorites. You know, I think I do a good, no. I think you do a good job of that. You're very unpretentious with your views. And so I enjoy this community when people aren't trying to present what they're saying as, if you disagree with me, then, you know, you're an idiot or you're a mindless sheep or something like that.
I think there's an interesting spectrum of, like you said, the channels that seem to really talk about the negative stuff, then the ones that want to get really positive ones. And then you had even said when a channel tries to be objective, it usually doesn't go anywhere because people want there to be that personality. That's one thing that I've learned over the years. I remember just like being in front of the camera and not realizing that I'm taking that nerd writer pill, right? Taking that nerd writer pill, maybe that YMS pill, whatever it is, and you're trying to be somebody else. And it's very interesting to see those creators who you looked up to talk about the same thing. It's about finding your voice. And it was about a certain point when you realize, right, like the channels that the videos that you're making sound nothing like you do when you actually come out of the theater. And I think that's that authentic voice that people need to find, because it's a little weird when you're in front of the camera. I don't like talking when it's just me. I like this right here. I like having a conversation.
Exactly.
And I was trying to figure out, how do I have that conversation when it's just me and the camera?
And even what we're doing right now isn't 100% authentic, because you and I are both putting on a little bit of an act for the camera. Right?
I hate you.
Right.
We're doing this right now.
Right.
I get you. Yeah, exactly. When you have a camera and you know that people are going to be watching, you're like watching more what you say. You're not being as free.
Right.
I forget what the term, there is a term for it, like, when you're on camera and stuff.
So that really is my goal as far as YouTube, is to create an environment, at least on my channel, where people talk about movies the same way that they talk about them with your friends. When you see, as long as you're a normal person, when you go to school or you go to work or whatever, and you say, "What'd you think of the new Star Wars?" They're like, "I didn't like it," and you're like, "Oh, I liked it," and then you kind of have...
You don't slap them in the face. You don't do
"You're
like
an
what
idiot.
You were doing. Like, I'm going to kill you, drink bleach.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, people don't... In real life is not like the internet. And I prefer real life to the internet, because people are a lot more respectful, and when you're talking to someone face-to-face, you suddenly realize that they are a person like you, and the relationship is so much more valuable than the disagreeing about films, you know?
I've had that. When I go to a screening and someone will, like, recognize me, and I'd be like, "Bro, you used to talk a lot of smack online." And they're like, "Oh, man, I watch your videos. Yo, it's really cool." I was like, "Yeah." And we'll just talk about movies. In the back of my mind, I was like, "Are you so-and-so Mikey 45621 who's, like, telling me to go kill myself and drink bleach?" I think it's an interesting perspective. I try to watch as many different perspectives, even if I disagree with them. I think that's good. Like you said, it's that same logic of you watch bad movies, and it makes you appreciate good movies.
Yeah, it should, at least.
It should.
Yeah.
I'm okay with listening to differing opinions. And we were saying this earlier in the podcast. What I care most about isn't so much your verdict, it's your why. I want to know why you gave it that. Even if I disagree with you, I'm like, okay, you're passionate about that. I can see your background to that. I can see the points that you're bringing up, right? I used to watch a bunch of YMS videos. I want to say growing up, but like, you know, like in 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
And it gave me an appreciation for what to look out for. I was in a bunch of editing classes. I was like, yo, I see that as well. But you're right. There is a certain point where you're like, and I used to watch this stuff, and I like his perspective. Do I sometimes think it's nitpicky? Sure. But I think it's tone is everything. And even with him, that's just his persona. I know some people don't like that, but that's his persona, just like someone maybe overly chipper, right? Let's go to the other perspective.
Right.
Jeremy Johns, right? And I think it's just like, it's like a restaurant. Just because you don't like a restaurant or a type of food doesn't mean that nobody else can't like it. Jeremy Johns is never making a video, right? And I'm not saying I'm the biggest fan of him, but I respect what he pioneered in his own thing, or the Schmoes or Stuckman, right? That they created their own lane, and you many times get that person from YMS or Red Letter Media who comes in and you're like, you're not that critical and you're not getting into things. But that's not their realm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like we were talking earlier, people wanting something from a movie, but the filmmaker's like, I never told you that's what I was going to give you. And for YMS, I love when he gets into those movies, when he rips apart movies, and then he talks about one that he appreciates. Yeah. And I'm like, I like that. I don't agree with you ripping apart this thing, but, you know, that's your perspective.
So I do enjoy, I enjoy YouTubers that if you watch enough of their videos, you slowly start to see who they really are, you know? Like, I feel like that's been the case with Ralph. If you watch one of his videos out of context, he can sometimes seem like a really big jerk. Like, but
because of the sarcasm.
After having watched him for several years, I think, and I've never met him, but I think I get him a little bit more than one video would convey, you know, if that makes sense. Like, I like YouTubers that you feel like you get to know a little bit more over watching their videos, where you may not understand their personality completely after one video, but they let bits of themselves seep in to everything.
Exactly.
And I try to take that the extra mile with my videos, especially my Harry Potter video is
Harry Potter was
extremely personal to me. I mean, I've got photos of me as a kid and all kinds of stuff from my actual childhood involving why I love Harry Potter. And I like YouTubers that are fully personal that way. That's why one of the reasons that I like Chris Stuckman. Even when
my childhood,
my childhood, you could say that he's got kind of basic taste or whatever, but he seems like a genuinely nice guy who's just honest with his opinions, and he is consistent. Yes, and I think he's been ahead of his time on certain things. He said Rogue One was bad when it first came out, and everyone was like, "Boo!" And now everyone says Rogue One is bad. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of how the viewership goes. But no, I agree with you. We were talking about that earlier about making it more personal. That's what I like seeing. It's either be personal with it and explain to me why you like the movie. To me, it's always just about the why. I really don't care about the rating thing, and that's what I hate, because so many viewers will go and they just care about the rating, right?
Yeah.
Like I always think, big in music, I watch Anthony Fantano, and you know he'll give you his whole breakdown.
Yeah.
But then people will just see the number. Right. YMS is the same thing when he gives you the number, and a bunch of other reviewers when they give you the number, whatever the rating is, and they'll be like, "Why would you give?" Bruh, it's a 7-minute video. He told you in the first 6 minutes, right?
Right. Mr. Sunday Movies does the whole, and I give this movie everything I said in this video out of 10, which I love.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah, I mean, you worked on a video, and I'm always curious to hear the thoughts on it, which brings me to that. You know, if you're on that perspective, like you mentioned, movies with Mikey, I've recently been getting into him. People had tagged me about his animation one, so that's definitely a video I want to work on. I don't know if you saw his animation video about what animation taught him. But yeah, that perspective of what can you learn from a movie, be it good or bad, what can you appreciate from it. But there are those people. We were talking about the film craze, the film essay craze in general.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this to call anybody out. I'm saying this as someone who's done it as well, as I was talking about earlier. You take that nerd writer pill, and all of a sudden, everything in this film is fantastic. And it's that point where it's not just that it's not objective. It's like you're coming off as such a pretentious
Every
douche.
great film needs bushes to be.
Yeah, you made that bushes video of being a parody of it. When it stops becoming more about you loving that movie or whatever your thoughts were of it, and actually like showing a passion for the culture of movies, but more about what you care about is me. And look what I gave into this. Look how I defined it.
Right.
I've always felt like, and again, as I'm sure you do as well, a lot of us who make these videos are trying to garner up an audience because we want to be the ones who get critiqued on our own work later on when we make our own films and such, right? That's the way I've always seen it. But sometimes we make these videos kind of not so much for the love of movies, but for the love of ourselves and trying to brush our own egos. I can definitely say that I've made videos like that where you come out and you're not even saying anything, man.
Right.
And you don't care to listen to anybody else's perspective because only your perspective is right. You don't know how to take criticism. There's a difference between criticism and trolls.
Right.
You know, but like you just want to make something because you want it to be super profound.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are a variety of different approaches people take to simply make themselves seem smarter than everyone else, you know?
Yeah.
You've got lots of videos that are the sort of immature, this is why this thing actually sucks video. There's a 5-hour review of The Last Jedi where he breaks down why it actually sucks, and
which is fine if he agrees with that,
right?
So, yeah,
but it all has the air of I'm right, you're wrong. I'm making this video to prove why, why I understand why this movie is bad and you don't, and you should agree with me. And then you've also got the other genre of that where it's talking really slowly and proving that you're knowledgeable about this thing. And it's all emulating Nerdwriter. And I think Nerdwriter is a phenomenal creator. He is a brilliant, intelligent, creative person. But just copying him isn't going to get you anywhere. You need to embrace your personality and your style for
Tony Zhao
to stand out. Yeah.
Tony Zhao, when he was still around and he was making his videos, those definitely like pioneered that video essay thing. And then you have like lessons from the screenplay. Channel Crimson, I think, is another one I can think of. It becomes difficult because you are also in an environment with YouTube that if you want that to be successful and to be pushed and stuff like that, not every video you can make, if you're trying to pounce one out a week or whatever, can be profound. Sometimes there's just not a lot to say, right? That's why I created a second channel where I'm pretty much was like, all right, people really want to hear what I have to say about this, but I can't make an explain video of it. But some people want.
That's been the case with some movies that I wanted to make videos about. I really liked the movie Game Night. I thought it was great. But
what profound thing can you say about it?
Right. Like, I've been trying to brainstorm a script for it for a while, and there's some notes I can make. Like, I want to talk about some of the influences on it and everything. But, like, it's a good movie, but it's not, like, great enough for me to break apart and analyze every scene, It's just enjoyable and fun and well made, But I feel like if I were to make a video about it and talk about why it's so brilliant, then that might be a little bit pretentious, where I'm just trying to create meaning where there is only a little bit,
Yeah. I mean, I've seen that, especially because I love doing explain videos. That's when I really got into my niche because, like we said, when I come out of a movie, I've just seen the movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to tiptoe around, but you guys haven't seen it.
Right.
I can't talk. No, yo, I want to talk about spoilers. If I'm going to talk about the why, I need to tell you the why. And that's when I was like, all right, I really like these explain type of videos. And I started doing that. It's been very interesting. I'm not saying I invented the word explained or anything. There are
Copyright it.
Channels.
Copyright the word explain.
Oh, yeah, let me find bros this thing. No, there were definitely other people who were doing it. Other people who I highly respect who have used those phrases like ending explain and explain and whatever else. Then I see Collider doing it. And then I see Looper doing it, and I'm like, but like we have a timeline, right? We have these things called on every video dates, right? And this is I only speak from because that's the terminology I've used, but there's definitely other ones. Wisecrack loves the philosophy of, right? That is their thing. Not that nobody else can use it, but it's very interesting when you see somebody else imitating the thumbnail and imitating other stuff.
Yeah,
dealing with that. When I see other people doing what Jenny Nicholson, she had that one that series that she did. And I don't think she's done it in a bit. The pitch meeting thing.
Oh yeah.
Then you see Screen Rant start doing it.
Oh yeah.
But this thing was on trending Screen Rant.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That type of thing. I was like, come on now, because it then starts taking from other people. And again, I did not invent the explain thing. And everyone, I love seeing different explanations for things because to me, it's never really much of this is my explanation. It's so I've listened to hours of the director. Let me, you're not going to sit and do that, so I did it for you, and here's my spin on it, my interpretation. I'm explaining my thoughts.
Right. And Jenny Nicholson is an example of a YouTuber, one of my favorites. I can't believe I haven't mentioned her thus far, because, she's funny, she's got a sense of humor about it all, she realizes that this is all really dumb. That's the mark, I think, of a great film YouTuber as well, is not taking themselves too seriously, Even 2001: A Space Odyssey is just a movie, and you can make jokes about it.
How dare you? Just because you love 13 Reasons Why doesn't mean they have to put down real cinema, okay?
Right.
You see 13 Reasons Why thing?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's not taking yourself too seriously.
Right. Yeah.
Being able to accept the memes when you get memed or get called out or whatever, just going with the flow, because it's, at the end of the day, you're able to make a video like this right now that some people are watching online and just talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so. And then... we have talked about the whole wanting to keep things more personal and not force objectivity. I think there is room for objectivity. No film will ever be able to be judged completely objectively, but it is healthy for people to, especially when it comes to just filmmaking technique break down why something is good or bad, you know, from the editing to the writing to the acting.
And those are great things.
You know, well, acting's a little bit more subjective, but editing, writing are two very, they lean towards objectivity, I think, as well as several other things, technical things. And it can be healthy to talk about those things, you know, but
to understand it.
It's also important to maintain the idea that, you know, I'm talking about the objectivity of this, but there's still some subjectivity involved, and I'm not telling you not to like it, you know? Like, I like a lot of bad movies. I really like The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That movie is garbage. It's terrible. Like, from a technical standpoint, from a writing standpoint, it's awful. But I really like it, you know? And I think it's important for people to realize that distinction. There's a difference between liking a movie and saying that it's good, you know?
Yeah.
So.
That's a great point. Do you have any channels you could recommend off the top of your head that you'd appreciate? Be it, you know, just ones that you appreciate. Be in them positive or negative ones that you want to give a shout out to.
I mean, I've mentioned a couple. Let's see, Jenny Nicholson, Red Letter Media, Ralph the Movie Maker are some of my favorites. Those are all kind of the cynical, you know, that breed of YouTuber. But then I also love Movies with Mikey. Patrick H. Willems is one of my favorites as of late. He's had a whole kind of rebranding thing going on, and really, he's killing it. Like, just killing it. He's doing well. And he appeared in my Marvel Analyzed review, and he's a very intelligent guy. Lots of great production value. Then there's, who else? Patrick H. Willems is good. Do you have any you'd recommend? I'm going to look at my phone and see what I'm subscribed to.
I go through some. I want to give a shout to some of the smaller ones that I really appreciate. Brockren is one that I've been really getting into a bit. He makes some really dope videos.
I just watched his... Have you seen him? What was it? I watched his Last Jedi video the other day. He's really good. Yeah.
He's making some really dope stuff. Yeah. Cinema Tyler, if you want some really good concrete. I've known this guy for a while.
I was thinking about him as far as objectivity. He's got lots of good just educational stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cinema Tyler's really dope. I always give a shout out to Double Toasted. They were one of the ones who really I've been listening to them since the Spill days, and for me, the way they talk about movies is like friends, and that's definitely something that I've always wanted to just emulate. But there's a bunch out there. The ones that you mentioned as well, I definitely co-sign. But
I've got a few.
It's always been about. Go ahead.
Yeah. Brown Table is one of my friends.
Hey, yeah, that guy's dope.
He's been doing really well recently. He just hit 50,000. And he's got some good video essays, good kind of sarcastic content as well. Say Goodnight Kevin is a friend of both of ours. He's great.
The boy Kevin, yeah, he's dope.
Yeah, good movie night videos as of late. Karsten Runquist is a good friend of mine. And he started out doing video essays that were very Nerdwriter-esque. And I think he realized that. And as of late, he's continued doing video essays, but his voice has evolved to the point where it's educational and smart and well-made, but it's also got like an edge of sarcasm and humor to it. And it's evolved from something that initially was kind of by the books, still good, but by the books, to something that's very unique and has its own voice, which is what I've really enjoyed. And then also, good friend of mine is Taylor J. Williams. He and I have been trying to do a collaboration for several months now. We actually recorded a discussion about video essays, similar to what you and I are talking about now, about 2 months ago or so, but then didn't get it uploaded, and now our discussion's kind of out of date. It was very of its time. So we're trying to do some new stuff. But anyway, he's a good one. He doesn't post super frequently, but he's got a lot of good breakdowns of different movies and stuff. And is, again, someone who's very personal with his reviews. Last one I thought of is, and I think he's got like 200,000 subscribers, but is Royal Ocean Film Society. Have you watched them?
Okay. I've heard of them. I see them always come up with the discussion when people like talking about it.
Yeah, he's wonderful. He's a person who started out doing very every frame and painting-esque videos, but now has evolved to someone who's like more intimate and personal than I've seen on YouTube in a long time. Like, he's really, really good and almost often moving and emotional with his videos. So yeah, I totally recommend them.
Dope. I mean, yeah. And there's a bunch of other channels. If you guys have any recommendations off of this video, definitely let us know down below in the comments section.
Yeah.
People who you may want to see on the podcast coming up next as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, I think the beauty of the film community, whether you're a small channel, whether you're big, whether you're not even making YouTube videos at all, is that before I was making them, I just loved seeing people talk about movies.
Yeah.
To me, the YouTube film community has always been, blockbusters don't exist anymore. You ain't got that guy who's got the hookups who lets you know, yo, this is the movie that's really good. Go watch that.
Yeah.
That's become us.
Yeah.
We are that
That's
blockbuster
true.
dude who gives you the recommendations.
Well, and much of my kind of YouTube stuff has been about, like, this market is saturated so much at this point where if I didn't exist, it'd probably be about the same.
Somebody else.
You know? Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, it would be
else.
filled. But I think you should still be trying to fill a gap in the market and to do something that's new and
perfect.
unique and that no one else is doing. And that people believe, especially when it comes to, like, Patreon and stuff, believe, like, man, if this channel weren't around, we would be lacking something, you know?
100%
And it's sometimes hard to find exactly what that is, but I think it's always something to pursue, even if you never quite reach it, you know? So, yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. So to wrap that up, to me, you know, it's a film community, and if you're making a video, right? If you got that personality, if you got something to say, I think that's the biggest point. That doesn't matter what you're covering, whether you love it or you hate it, just add to the discussion of the movie.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the topic of the week. Let's go through some stuff now. Zach always gets into the nitty gritty. Like this man knows what's coming out on film reel. This man knows like stuff that's like on Seed and Spark and Indiegogo. But I'm just gonna keep it to the theatrical releases of what's coming out this week, and then you just give me the thumbs up if you're looking forward to it or not.
Yeah.
Right, we got Upgrade. Have you heard of Upgrade? Lee
No.
Wineau's movie. It feels like a mechanical Venom. I saw this a couple weeks ago. It's okay. It's okay. It's decent.
Okay.
So that's coming out this upcoming week. American Animals, the half documentary, half scripted narrative about these guys who decide to rob a library. And it's from the guy who made one of my favorite documentaries of all time, The Imposter. Have you heard of this?
Yes, I think I have.
MoviePass bought this. This is MoviePass's
cool.
first movie.
I would like to support MoviePass.
I highly recommend this movie. Definitely check it out. It's such an interesting narrative of having the actual people narrate it, but then actually having a great cast who's in it. Let me just look up who's actually in this cast. You got Barry Keoghan, who's been incredible. Evan Peters.
Oh, yeah.
Blake Jenner. Some of you guys may know him.
Oh, I've heard of this. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
So this one's pretty dope. I highly recommend this one. Adrift. The Dunkirk stealing font movie.
The Life of Pi stealing movie in general.
A little bit that's out there. But it's a true story, though. You know what?
Yeah.
It's a true story. It's, again, your boy from The Hunger Games who can't walk. Another movie where he can't walk and the woman's doing all the bidding for him.
Yeah.
So that one's out there as well. And then, I don't know if this one's in limited release or not, but Action Point. Johnny Knoxville's new movie about the crazy amusement park that he has. So.
Oh, yeah. I saw that, yeah.
So out of those four, Action Point, Adrift, American Animals, and Upgrade, which are you looking forward to the most?
I don't know enough about it except what you've said, but it sounds like American Animals. It sounds really good. Yeah, I'm not really interested in Adrift or whatever it is, Action Point. That both of them looked thoroughly unappealing to me, but you know. So.
Yeah, but we'll see. We still got some good movies out, so
yeah,
definitely go check out those. So. As we wrap up the show, what movies do you recommend? What are you putting on the list for people to watch? Be it in theaters, be it stuff that's out, or be it stuff online. I always like to give a theatrical recommendation and then something people can watch at home.
Yeah. I will recommend my own film.
Go ahead.
I'm going to plug myself. Long Box Breakup is a short film that I made at the beginning of this year. I actually made it a year ago, and it was posted at the beginning of this year. 17 minutes long, and it's a kind of fun, pop culture-y romantic comedy. Not the greatest thing ever. I don't want to, like...
Yeah.
I made it into a very big event on my channel. Like, it's coming, you know, but... It's just a short film. It's just a student short film, you know, and I think it's a good one, at least, but it's not the best thing ever made.
Hey, but it's free.
It is, exactly. It's free. So I recommend checking that out. Other than that, here's something that you and I think both enjoy quite a bit. I rewatched Your Name last night.
I saw you did, yeah.
Really love that. One of my favorite. I mean, it's the only anime movie I've ever watched except for Ponyo, I think. So I that has gotten me a little bit more interested in anime as of late. I'm going to watch, I think, the Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle and Princess, what is it, Monoke or Monoki? I don't know.
Monoko,
yeah.
Mononoke. So,
yeah. I want to watch all the acclaimed ones. But that's kind of set me on that path. I really enjoy your name.
Spirited Away?
No, I haven't. Yeah. I am a little bit pathetic. Yeah, exactly.
My recommendations for this week. If you got a movie pass, use it for the movie pass movie. American Animals coming out this week. It wasn't my top of the fest because I had caught it at Sundance, but it's still pretty good. Watch that if you can. Build yourself up. I say go get baptized because I've been hyping this up. Hereditary comes out in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that movie is insane. I hate the fact that my hype may overhype it for some people, and I can't wait to read all the ones because it has 100% Rotten Tomatoes right now. People going, ugh. It didn't live. Shut your face. I'm gonna tell you right now, that movie's insane. But American Animals for this week, out of the Sundance releases that are coming out. But if you're at home and if you have HBO, I think I had recommended Barry last week. Barry is a fantastic show.
Yeah.
Starring I'm blanking on his name, from SNL. He produced it. It's fantastic. Bill Hader.
Oh yeah.
But I also caught up on Insecure, and I highly recommend Insecure. Insecure's a really good show, and the finale, I finished it like at night. I had to tweet it. I was like, "Yo, this finale was insane."
Yeah.
Like it's not a big like explosive thing. It's just little lines that characters say to each other, and you're like, "Can that be taken back?" Fantastic. So that's what I would recommend.
I also recommend Thoroughbreds. That is coming out. I think it's on digital now, and it'll be on Blu-ray in I think it's a week, maybe it. No, yeah, it's
got a wild ending. It
does have a wild ending. I don't think it's perfect, but it's really good and definitely worth
better than
watching.
Heathers.
Yeah,
but still a good movie. But anyways, thanks Houston for being on here. Again, if you guys have any recommendations for who you want to see up next, definitely know down below. But definitely plug your stuff, where people can find you, that Harry Potter video that you got up. Let the people know.
Oh, for sure. I am at BlockbustedPod on Twitter if you want my bad movie takes and controversial opinions. They're not that controversial. They're pretty basic. I've actually tried to start tweeting a little bit less as of late because I've really needed to be more productive than that. So I'm at BlockbustedPod on Twitter. And then HoustonProductions1 on YouTube is my YouTube channel, movie reviews and kind of introspective, talking about movies that I love. I've got a Harry Potter analyzed video there that's about an hour long, or 45 minutes, and it's breakdown of everything that I love about the series. Yeah. And that's about it as far as places to follow me, I think. YouTube and Twitter.
I have all this stuff down below, so you can definitely go follow him on Twitter. Man tweets like crazy, retweets all the good stuff that you need to know about film, and he's got really good videos out there.
You know what? Just follow me. That's it. That's all you need. I can be your exclusive source.
Unfollow everybody else, and he got you. He guys got everything else. Similar to what we do on the Intercut podcast. You can follow us on Intercut Pod on Instagram, on Twitter, obviously here on the show. You can also follow me at the AtZShow at the same media links, Twitter, YouTube. Especially go follow Zach. Zach does all the work here. So today I took his hosting duties. Zach, you need to come back. I feel like Mr. Mom when he's got to do all the work. But yeah, definitely go follow Zach on ZShevik over on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff over at the Multiplex. I mean, you already know. All the links are down below in the description. Thank you, Houston, for joining us.
Oh, yeah.
Until next
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys later.